Hey everyone, welcome back to Maker's Bar. I'm your host, Troy Goldenberg. Today we are here with Samantha Guillen, co-founder and chief marketing officer at Swiftleads AI. Samantha, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, happy to have you. I talked to your CEO in the past, and with your new company, I'm very excited to hear all about it. But before we get to that, I'd like to start with you and your story. So tell us your story, and I can start from childhood, school, wherever you want to start that story.
Yeah, so I got my start in actually finance. I was going to college for finance. I was at NYU and I took an internship. I really wanted to be an investment banker initially, but I took the internship and I actually hated it. And so I, at the same time, was doing side hustling as a model out in LA for e-commerce brands. And I realized in LA, they were so much more ahead of the influencer game and so much more in the digital world than in New York. I feel like in New York, you're either in finance or high fashion. So out in LA, everybody was like a YouTuber, somewhere in the social media realm. So I actually met a few people who wanted to start a digital marketing company, and I jumped in with them, and the rest is history. I was there for a couple of years, moved back to New York, and by the time I moved back, everybody was now incorporating social media into corporate. So I decided to, while simultaneously having my digital marketing business, which was running itself at that point, I went into corporate with Bulgari. So I was with them for about 3-4 years, and that was fun. But I realized really quickly that the world was changing so fast and that people were getting into AI, and that's where the world was going. So I wanted to jump in the space. So I jumped in the space full force. So that's how I got my start.
Amazing. And then, so what were the lessons that you took out of that first business, the skills and the leadership type lessons that you took out of that?
Yeah, scaling a business is really difficult. And managing people is really difficult. So those are two skills that I really honed in on.
Can you dive a little bit deeper into either of those? So let's go with managing people first. So what did you find out so difficult about it, and how did you overcome those obstacles, those challenges?
Managing people's egos and personalities is really difficult. People always have kind of like, they think their ideas are better instead of like the entire scope of the business. So having to balance that was the hardest thing I found, just like managing different personalities and butting heads with people and making sure nobody's fighting. And what was the other thing you asked?
The other one was about scaling. So when did you run into that first block of like, hey, we got to X number in revenue or X number of clients, and now we're just finding it hard to get past that? What were the bottlenecks, and then how did you overcome them? What were the lessons kind of taken out of that?
Yeah, I guess the hardest thing was I'm a control freak, and I try to keep it, a very minimal structure for the longest time until I realized like, hey, I have to hire some people, and I can't do everything myself or just with 1 or 2 other people. So that was really tough for me to let go of that control and bringing on clients, just knowing how much you can handle and how much you can take at one set time. That was also difficult, managing that.
Good to know. And then as far as the industry, how it's evolved, how do you see it evolve over the time you're in it, and where do you see it going now?
The time I got in, I got in really early. And at that time, nobody had like crews, and, everything was a lot less about the aesthetics, and people were just a lot more authentic, in my opinion, just putting out content. And, there was a lot less competition in the space, that's for sure. The way I see it going now, especially with AI, a lot of things are being automated. I played my hand with, I don't know if you're familiar with Argyle or Hey Jen. I started to create myself as a clone, and I realized this is where the industry is going now, because we're going to see a lot less real people as influencers. A lot of it is going to be influencer clones of people through AI. So those are the biggest ways I've seen the industry change. And nobody used to take it serious, by the way. Like when I first got in it, it was kind of like, how could you drop finance? How could you drop your career in that for this? But I really saw the vision. I knew it was going to be a big thing. People were telling me, kind of like bringing me down and making me feel like I was making the wrong choice. Like, this is going to go nowhere. In a couple of years, Instagram's not even going to be a thing. Look at what happened to Vine. But what I've learned is that there's always going to be a new platform. Even like with TikTok, people are saying that it was going to be eradicated, which I think it might still be. I think we have like a few days until that decision is going to be made. But there's always going to be a different platform. Like, I think there's no reset button on the social media. It's just globalized the world, and there's no going back, honestly. So I think I've made the right choice with the career path I've taken.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it worked out, and obviously you're correct. And as even if it's not Instagram or TikTok, whatever the next thing it's coming, that's going to be a thing. This is the world we live in now.
Yeah.
And we're evolving past even influencers. They have their own clones. And as AI changes everything.
And podcasts too. I mean, the whole podcast revolution. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is actually insane. And even seeing like Maker's Bar grow here is just wild. How it's just another 5,000, another 10,000 like every week or two, and it's like, okay, this is really going somewhere.
300 something thousand, almost 400,000. That's
we're getting up there, and it's interesting to see how media itself is changing too. And now we're doing podcasts and YouTube and all these things that definitely were seen as fads, 10, 15 years ago, and then going into your work as a digital marketer, how did you find, what were the kind of the KPIs for your clients? Like, hey, this is successful. Was it followers? Was it click-through rate? What were the metrics that you were following there?
This really depended on the brand. And I've also worked with a lot of personal brands, for example. Some people want more visibility versus they want to see more sales or conversion rates or click-through rates on the website. So for example, when I worked with Bulgari, they're a household name. Like, if you are into jewelry, maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't, but they're a household name. They're a huge brand. They don't need any more. They don't rely on the social media for the sales. They relied on the social media for the visibility, for the promotion of their new collections. So it really depended on each client, had a different goal.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And I guess on that note, we can kind of start getting into Swiftleads and how you ended up here working with Parvez. And let's go with that first. How did you end up at the company?
Yeah, so like I said, I was looking to pivot into AI, but I didn't know how. I didn't know where to start. I had already been learning AI. Like, I've always been a very at the forefront of the next wave kind of person. Like with the social media stuff, next is the AI, and I couldn't find my in. I'm like, I could go and work in-house for some tech company and work my way through there, but I didn't want to take that leap yet. I was still handling my own clients with the digital marketing. And so I believe in the power of connections. Like, I know it's kind of like a cliche and people say this all the time, but your network is truly your net worth. And I maintained a lot of my connections. I went to a really great high school where I had people through all walks of life and really intelligent people. And so I had a friendship with the salutatorian of my high school, this really intelligent guy who went to Harvard. And I always looked up to him. But he approached me sometime last year, and he wanted to work with me on some projects. And I was like, I was always like smart, but I thought of him as like, you're Harvard. I'm like, so, but he approached me later last year with somebody who was looking for somebody who out in Dubai, who was looking for someone who is an expert in luxury branding and digital marketing, because this person was developing an app, or not an app. He was developing Swiftleads AI at the moment, entirely himself at the time. And he wanted somebody to come on because Swiftleads AI, we work with luxury real estate agents. So I met Parvez Zoha, and one thing led to another, and now I'm on board with him. We're partnered, and it's going great.
Glad to hear it. And what have your responsibilities been? What's your day-to-day kind of? I know that's kind of everywhere, but what is it?
Startup life, it's kind of everywhere. I love working at a startup. Like, that's how I got my start, having my own startup experience. And I miss working at a startup because working corporate, you're succumb to just one role. You're not doing a billion things and you're not truly learning. You're kind of just in your own zone. But I guess my day-to-day is really just monitoring our media. I'm pretty much in charge. I'm the CMO of the company. I manage all the content. I create all the content, which is something I love to do. I guess my day-to-day is just measuring the KPIs on that and making sure that we're on point with growth. So,
what are those KPIs? How are you measuring all of those, and what are the goals kind of going in, let's say, for the next year?
Our goals are conversion. Our goals are to automate things and convert through the content. And we're not just focused on views, because you see so many people go viral and they have no call to action and they have no conversions really going on. So our main focus is really YouTube, actually. Our main focus is, because that's where the people that are the highest paying clients, and that this is facts, they're out on YouTube. So we're focused on that. And it's
interesting.
Yeah.
So we're talking about luxury real estate. These like some of the rich people. They're on YouTube. That's where they're spending their viewing hours.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So are you guys doing YouTube ads there?
We're not doing YouTube ads yet. Right now we're just still organic. But in the next month or so, we're planning to roll out YouTube ads.
Very cool. Very cool. I just never would have guessed that. I would have guessed TikTok or Instagram, maybe even Facebook first, as far as.
Surprise. YouTube converts the highest paying people. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have any good success stories, any case studies there thus far?
And with YouTube?
Yeah, or anywhere, really.
We haven't had a post go viral on YouTube yet. We just started about a month ago with the social media stuff. However, on Instagram, I have my own personal platform where I'm talking about general AI, which I linked to Swiftleads AI page, and I've had a few viral ones so far. So I'm excited to see the growth in the organic side before we roll out any ads or make any push for that.
Oh, it's very cool. I love what you're doing there. And then as far as Swiftleads AI, so you're in luxury real estate. What's the differentiator there with the company? Because right now we're seeing a bunch of AI agent companies come out. So what was it that you found like, oh, this is really taking us to the next level from our competitors?
Yeah, so we're the only AI company right now, AI voice AI, that is focused on luxury real estate agents and helping them manage and qualify their leads. So in terms of that, I see a lot of potential because we actually developed our software ourselves. Like a lot of these companies, what they do is they use OpenAI and or whichever other AI platform that source. So we've developed it entirely ourselves.
Which is incredible. And kind of shout out there to Perez, CEO. It's like he is really such an impressive guy, everything he's built there. And it makes sense that he went and found someone like you that can handle that the CMO, CRO type of side of it. Yeah. And as he just builds out.
He's very intense. I know you've spoken with him. He's extremely intense, but I love it because he pushes me. And, we're working around the clock. Like our whole team is working around the clock, and he's in Dubai. So he's like up right now, actually. I think he like goes to bed 9 p.m. Eastern time, and he's always there. He's always available, but he's up crazy hours. So
I'm sure. How big is the team now at this point?
We have about 6 developers, and then it's me and Parvez. So it's not a big team just yet, but our developers are world class. They're incredible. I mean, they've developed an incredible software.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's amazing how far you guys have come so far in this short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I've gone on this with Swiftleads AI, put in the information, and I've gotten the callback like this 10 seconds after, if that, after you put in the information. The voice AI is taking your info down, booking you for a demo. It is very, very cool.
Yeah, and not only voice, by the way, it also texts back through WhatsApp, SMS, email. So it's a really great product for real estate agents, and we have many clients that are very happy and satisfied, and we have a few deals coming in right now as well, enterprise deals, by the way. So brokerages here in New York. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Love to hear that. And now, are you on your website? It actually says that you're in like a few cities, but are you operating nationwide, worldwide?
Worldwide. Our system also can talk in 30 plus different languages. It's fully customizable. You can even clone your voice. So if you want it to sound like you can make it sound like you. So it's great.
Yeah, that is incredible.
And Parvez has built many companies, so he has a lot of experience, much more than me. He's obviously older than me, so he has a lot more experience than me, and he's more on the technical and in the sales side. Like, he has a sales background, super successful salesperson. So yeah.
Yeah, no, he is an incredible leader there. But how about you? How has you seen your leadership grow in this role since your last role?
Yeah, there's a lot more autonomy in this role. There's a lot less, like, at Bulgari, I was digital marketing manager. So, I still have people above me and I still have to report to people. Here, it's pretty much all me. And so it's like there's a fire under my ass because I love to create. I love to do my thing and let my creative juices go. And the only person really overseeing me is Parvez, but in a more general sense. He's not really like checking in. He kind of is like, go and let your creative juices flow and do what you have to do to get the company seen and visible. So it's great.
Yeah, I love that. And how do you stay updated on the latest industry developments? And for you, it's really a two-headed dragon where you have to stay updated on the digital marketing side and then the AI and what you guys are working on.
Yeah, it's actually so overwhelming because AI is changing every day. So I'm like, I wake up in the morning and I'm automatically checking what are the latest updates. I have like a newsletter I'm signed up to. I have certain YouTubers that I love, like Liam Otley. He actually mentioned us on his page and he has like 500,000 subscribers. So that was a big one for us to be recognized by him. And so, yeah, I'm constantly just like watching YouTube and seeing what other creators are doing and, people not only in the general sense of digital marketing, but in the AI space, how they're actually creating content and how they're attracting viewers and how I can kind of like mimic that into my own, with adding my own little spice. So.
Yeah, no, I love that. It all makes sense. And then also, you mentioned Liam Otley.
Yeah.
What are some other resources? And these could be books, courses, mentors that are instrumental for you.
Yeah, the first book I picked up was Generative AI for Dummies. So that was my start. In terms of books, I try to read the books on AI, but most of them are outdated because even if they came out a month ago, they had to be published and whatnot, right? So that takes months. And by the time it's released, it's like we're on to the next thing, like before it was Midjourney, now everybody's on to Chat 4.0 for creating images. And it's always constantly. So I'd rather learn online. I was also taking a course, generative AI at NYU Tandon at the School of Engineering, because I wanted to learn AI from a more technical standpoint. Because I don't have a technical background. I have a digital marketing. I'm an online person. So for me, AI is kind of like, it makes sense, but I did also want to learn like on a more granular level. So
absolutely. And then were there any mentors or courses as far as just your business, digital marketing, you, Samantha, as a person that have like made a big impact on you?
I mean, I've had so many in the past, but I think one that's stuck out for me lately is Layla Hermosi, because she speaks for the girls. She's all about like women entrepreneurship, and I love that she's a strong woman. And I'm all about like women being in positions of power, and at the same time, I like to also maintain my femininity. That's something that's really important for me as well. So
That's actually really funny you mentioned that. I've been on the husband's YouTube lately. I've watched a handful of his lectures lately. It's like, just
him too. I watch him too. I think they're
yeah,
both great. Yeah.
yeah. No, they both do. They both seem great. I've known about them for a while, but I just like never really like took the time to like study their work or anything like that.
Mhm.
And then a few of his lectures on branding and selling and all those things popped up, and I've been on my 9 to 5 is sales. I'm just tech sales, and I've just been on a big kick of upgrading those skills and everything. And he came up and I was like, oh, this is great. Like even though he's not a tech sales guy, it's sales in general and the branding in general. It's all.
But guess what? He had been posting for like years without getting any recognition. He just popped out of nowhere in the past year or two, right? Like he's a testament to being consistent, because he did not get that much traction when he first started. So
Yeah,
but he's been wildly successful, and he's really interesting to me because some people ask me or like tell me, if he's so rich, why is he doing content? Well, it's because you can't buy influence. Like you could be a billionaire and be behind the scenes and nobody knows you, but nobody will know you when you walk in, or most people wouldn't, right? But what he wants is he wants influence, and I've learned that that's something that's super super important in today's world.
Yeah, absolutely. The brand of everything. One of his lectures, just like how you build your brand and what is a brand and all of those things. And I guess that's a good place to pivot back to for the Swiftleads AI branding. Obviously, voice AI, the ability that you have 30 different languages. These things can set you apart. But how are you going about building that brand?
Yeah, going about building the brand is we want to build a community of people, of real estate agents, and really target their pain point. That's the brand we're heading towards.
Okay, and what is that pain point?
Yeah, the pain point is, let's say you're a real estate agent, right? And you're showing off a house or a beautiful place, and you have so many people interested. How can you differentiate who's a person who's just a time waster and, while you're showing one client a house or busy with one client, you're getting a call from that one person who is going to buy, right? And now if you don't pick up the phone, that person is going to go to somebody else. There's like a 70 to 80% rate of, the person is going to go with the first luxury real estate agent who picks up or who gets back to them. So it's really important for real estate agents to get on it ASAP. And that's where Swiftleads AI comes into play.
Amazing. So when you're implementing that solution, let's say post-implementation of that solution, what's the impact? How is that pain solved?
Yeah. So our company, basically, when you make a call, you saw how it works. When you make a call, or you leave a message, the system gets back to you. It's all fully customizable. Yeah.
So the customer, the customer would be able to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they would be able to say, hey, the client would be able to say, hey, when I get a call, I want voice AI to answer, or I want an SMS text back, or like I want it to take these steps in particular, and the Swiftleads team, the developing team, would create that all for them, correct?
Our entire system, our platform, I would show you, but I didn't prepare it. But basically, when you go into the system, it allows you to select whether you want to start a campaign with emails, a campaign with calling, a campaign with, and you can select the different leads that you want used, or you can choose all of them. So, yeah.
Amazing. And that's the CRM portion of
the
business, correct?
Mm-hmm. We have our own built-in CRM system, but if you're, for example, working with, I don't know, Hootsuite or some other CRM system, Salesforce, you're able to plug it into the system.
Amazing. That's a huge thing too. The integration of one software to another is such a difficult thing for so many companies, and there are so many just product teams, development teams that's working on just integrations month after month. So the ability to integrate into one of their, if not their main system, which I'm not super familiar with the real estate industry, but in every industry, it's CRMs and ERPs. Those are going to be your main system, one of those two. So that's just such a big deal there. It really is a game changer.
Yeah, but you said your brother is in real estate?
Yeah, so I have two brothers in real estate. One in more so traditional real estate. He's a partner started a commercial brokerage company out in Omaha, and then he also has started his own development company. And developments just take a long time, but the first development property is they purchased it and they got it all rezoned and through all the committees. It takes years to get through all that stuff. So they've already improved the value on it, just like a few $1 million just through zoning and committees and all that thing. And that's gonna be the first apartment complex. But he's been in real estate. He's a property manager to start, got into commercial brokerage, and then started their own firm. And yeah, now he's just taking step after step after step. So I do learn a bit about it. And then the other side of it, one of my brothers, his whole job now, his whole business, I think he's quit his job, his 9 to 5, like 3-4 years ago. He's just a land flipper. So it's all online. He'll go buy land in cash and he'll sell it for terms. So, for over 36 months. Yeah. And it really is cool. I've helped him out a bit. So I got to see like how the system works and everything you're doing. And it's just a whole other side of real estate. And it is really interesting.
That's a side of real estate I'm so unfamiliar with. I have my mortgage license, so I worked in mortgages for a little bit as a side hustle, but I don't know anything about that side. That's so interesting.
Yeah, no, real estate is one of those, I mean, many industries, but it's one of those industries where like you niche down, then you niche down again, then you niche down again.
Yeah.
It is crazy, and it makes more millionaires than any other industry.
That I've seen. I think it's something like 90%.
Yeah, it's something like that. It is wild. And so much of that, I'm sure, is in like someone's house, just the value of the house as it appreciates and they pay off the mortgage and all of that. But, a lot of people get very rich doing it. And the Swiftleads AI business, it made me very excited when I first heard about it, because it's like, oh man, this makes so much sense. Like I haven't seen anyone in this niche, use AI in this niche in this way, and sell to rich people. Like people want to make a lot of money.
Yeah, we're aiming at the brokerages. That's our main. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's your target market? Is there a wider market by chance there, the total addressable market?
As of right now, no. We're just focused on the brokerages and hitting it big, going straight to the source. But we've encountered some pushback because a lot of the luxury real estate game, a lot of the brokerages are a bit more on the old school side. So for example, like Douglas Elliman, they're super traditional and they're notorious for being adverse to change. They don't want change. So
interesting. And so when you run into that pushback, how do you handle that, the objection handling, so to speak?
So that's part of our goal, is to educate people. And a lot of people get intimidated by AI. I'm in the world of the AI. So to me, it's like, oh, like everyone's doing it in my eyes, right? But the reality is a lot of people are not doing AI or at least beyond ChatGPT, right? In the most simplest forms of like just typing a question. They don't realize that there's so many tools out there that can facilitate our lives. And I think that the people who don't utilize those tools are going to be left behind. I truly do believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my mind, this has to be the same or similar type of revolution as the internet coming around.
Yeah. So people who are, they rely on traditional methods, and if they're resistant to change, I really think that they're just losing out on not adopting new technologies within the AI field. So
absolutely. And there's going to be a new king in the space, so to speak. I remember one of the lessons that I took out of the internet revolution, studying businesses, impacts, and all of those things, where if you go look at the beer industry, who were the top producers pre and post, top revenue producers pre and post the internet and social media coming around, all these things, you wouldn't really, being younger, you wouldn't really recognize any of the names anymore as far as who was just the biggest revenue producers. Yeah, no, really, you weren't these.
I'm not a big beer drinker, but my family is.
Maybe
So
maybe it's more young man demographic, but yeah, we wouldn't recognize it. No, there was no Bud Light, Miller Light, whatever it is. PBR was still a thing. Pabst Blue Ribbon, that was like one of the big ones. Oh, you don't know that one?
no.
Oh wow, so that's a good.
Heineken, Coors Light. Yeah, I mean Modelo, Corona. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean even those ones, like those ones are kind of products of the new internet revolution, and the people that couldn't adjust, the businesses that couldn't adjust, they really did just get, or was resistant to it. They really did get left in the past there. And that's what we're coming to here, and we're just in the beginning stage of it. I feel like instead of being, a baby when the internet's a thing and everything, and just kind of growing up in that world and seeing that change. Well, now we get to be 20s, 30s, and okay, wait, this whole new thing's happening again, and this time we get to ride the wave.
It's comparable to the .com era, and I think that I were too young for that, but I really compare it to that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the early stages. We're very early. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're going to see companies that we've never heard of yet just be household names here in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm very excited that we get to be on the front end of it and see everything that's coming. It's just super, super cool. But as far as your personal reflections on like how far you've come, is there anything in your career? I'd assume that starting your own business, taking that leap of faith was a big thing for you. But maybe anything else in your career, like, hey, this was a pivotal move. It put me in a pivotal role, and it just really set my life in the right direction, my business life on the right direction.
I think two things about me is that I love taking risks, and I also love adapting to new environments. And I noticed with a lot of my friends, no hate to 9 to 5, because honestly, it's not easy, and not everybody can like create their own business or has the tenacity for it. But for me, I've always loved to take a risk. Like I moved out to California, and at age 20, 21, and I was out there for 2 years. That everything could have failed. I dropped school for a minute. I eventually finished school, but I had dropped it when I moved out there, and things worked out for me, but they couldn't. They what if they didn't? So yeah, that's one thing about me. I love taking risks and adapting. I'm really good at adapting.
What do you mean? So when you say adapting, do you have like a good example there?
Yeah, I guess like going from finance to digital marketing and realizing that that's the trend, that's where people are headed, and following that trend that's also a big strong point for me. Like I am good at figuring out what's the next big wave, and adapting to different environments is really crucial for that, because pivoting a whole like 180 to a different thing is scary, and not a lot of people are built for it. They kind of are stuck in their same zone the rest of their life. So
yeah, that makes sense. And then on the other side of it, the other side of the coin, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in your career?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like to think about regrets, but I think if I tell myself, maybe if I studied harder, I would have gotten to an Ivy League school, and, maybe my network would be a lot better. But that's not true, because I think that like you can make your network outside of just schooling. And, I think looking back on my life, I feel like I've been a testament of that. NYU, Manhattan was my campus. And I feel like that was the best thing I could have done for myself, is not get the college experience, but get that real world city experience, and just going out and meeting people. And that really broke me out of my shell, because I grew up really shy and reserved. And now I feel like I can walk into any room and feel like, yeah, I own the place. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that is a wild journey, going from like a reserved, shy kid to a CMO, where you're putting yourself on camera every day and all of those things.
Yeah. You have to not be shy. And you have to just be really confident, because you will get hate comments. Like I thought that, just running my personal brand, I would post about fashion and stuff like that, more for the girls. I received a lot of hate on that, and that was expected, but I didn't expect receiving so much hate, just talking about AI and, talking about my journey as a business person. So yeah, just be prepared for hate no matter what. I thought if I switched industries or this and that, things would be different. No, there's haters everywhere. So
Yeah, I know the internet is
people are brutal.
yeah, it's a wild place. It's insane actually, and it kind of makes you worry about the mental health of I'm sure a lot of it's bots. I know a lot of it's are actually bots, but it does make me worry about the mental health of the next generation. And as we talk about technology and everything that's happening, like,
yeah,
gosh, you have to worry about them as well.
There'll be some random fake account from like India or some random country. So
yeah, no. Anywho, we can get back more to you and Swiftleads and away from the online hate, which is a great conversation, but not really the topic of this one.
Yeah.
Although kind of on an opposite note, trying to think of the other side of that, I'm sure there's a lot of good feedback that you're getting and a lot of just different dynamics that have come into the company that like, oh, okay, this is something that we're getting a lot of good feedback on. Let's double down on this. What is it that you've doubled down on that you found that customers really like, or that maybe just your online audience has really liked and really found engaging?
Mm-hmm. People really like the personal aspect of it. So me being the face of the company was a good move because people want to see a face. We could have easily just done what a lot of other companies are doing and gone with creating faceless AI videos and stuff like that. But I think for me, that's not building brand. Like we want to build a brand here. So creating a community and connecting with people on a personal level is really important for me.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's a good idea, and another thing that can help separate you from competitors, potential competitors.
Yeah. A lot of people are just creating these impersonal videos and using AI, which I use AI still, obviously, every single day. But I think that one thing that AI can't take away is the actual personal level of talking to people one-on-one.
I agree. I am an optimist, but I am one of those people that I don't really fear AI that much. I have moments where I do, but I don't really fear AI that much because I think it's more, this isn't going to be something that takes over humanity or makes us bring the end of ourselves. To me, it's just a tool that's going to help the risk takers that want to go build things and go do things, and our everyday lives. It's going to help us so much more. It will make us that much more efficient. And I just think it's all very exciting there.
Yeah. So my latest video that went viral was kind of like a joke. When you're a graphic designer, but AI is taking over the space, because right now the biggest hype is the chat 4.0 images and the creation of the images. So people got so hell-bent on it. Like they were mad at me. They were mad at me for saying that. And they don't believe, a lot of people don't believe that AI will replace graphic designers or people in the creative space. And I don't think that either. I don't think that we will be fully replaced because there's still going to be a need. I think that the industry that will blossom more is the creative people versus the knowledge-based people, right? Because you need that creativity still to input into AI. And I think AI is just going to bolster those people's careers.
Yeah, I think so as well. And it is interesting how we really didn't see what was coming as far as when we thought AI, we thought the talk 5 to 10 years ago was, oh, truck drivers are going to go first and plumbers and all these things. And it turns out, well, the plumbers specifically and things of that nature are going to be like the last things to go.
Yeah.
We were telling everyone, well, they were telling us, hey, learn to code. And that was a whole movement. And now it seems to be that you need less senior engineers. You can get by with more junior engineers. And it's interesting how I agree. It's going to be the creatives and the business owners and the entrepreneurs and those type of things that really thrive throughout this whole process.
And the rise of intellectual creators, right? I'm seeing a big rise in that. People just spewing out different trends, different ideas, and I'm really loving it. Yeah. Because for a long time, I felt like going on the internet was just brain rot, like on TikTok. But now I'm seeing a lot of people come out and talk about their ideas and different creative strategies. So
yeah, no, we've definitely evolved that way. I think your content is a testament of that we went from entertainment to like to education.
Yeah.
And obviously there can be mixtures of it, but we really have seen that just evolve in that direction. Because I mean, YouTube, when I was a kid, there wasn't, outside of like, hey, let me teach you how to change a tire type videos, there wasn't really any of that. And now it's, at least for people like us, I would assume, but and anyone watching this, anyone that makes their way to Maker's Bar, when you load your feed, it's all about value. It's all about education.
All about value. And I'm loving it. Yeah. Because now I feel like I go on the internet, on socials, and I don't feel like I'm wasting time or, rotting away. I feel like every time I get off of Instagram, I'm learning something new. And it's valuable stuff. So it's been really great. I'm loving the transition.
Yeah. And obviously that want to learn is such a big piece of being successful, and being a lifelong learner is something that we all need. But what have been some other critical skills that you believe are important for an entrepreneur to have to succeed? And that can be you doing your small business or you joining a startup and trying to make this large enterprise business.
The work ethic and the tenacity and being okay with the unknown, which I think a lot of people are very scared to dive into something without knowing, because some things are out of your control. Like, what if we reach AGI or ASI in the next 6 months and then, they take over and pretty much a lot of startups are going to go bye-bye. So you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with maybe this won't work out. What if it does? So I always like to look at things on a positive note.
Yeah, no, it's a huge thing to have for an entrepreneur. I don't think I've gotten that answer asking that question, but just the ability to be optimistic and think, what if things go right, not what if things go wrong, as we're so wired to do as humans.
Yeah.
And then when that what if things go wrong, thoughts start to hit, how do you handle that adversity? How do you handle that doubt?
Just stay positive and think positive thoughts. Self-care. Self-care is very important for me. Being able to say, okay, like we did 10 hours of work, I need a break. Being able to say that, even though you know that there's so much you could get done, you have to know when to step away, go to the sauna. I love going to the sauna and just sitting there. I love meditating. I love the steam room. There's this place called Bath House here in New York that I love going to that has a sauna steam room, kind of like, all of that wellness stuff. And prioritizing sleep. I used to never prioritize sleep. When I was younger, especially, I used to go on my days with 3-4 hours of sleep. And now I realize that is really a detriment to my productivity. I can't be productive if I'm working on 3-4 hours anymore. I have to have like my at least 7 to 8 hours. So yeah, I really prioritize sleep. And that has been the biggest thing for me. That has been really helpful recently. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lesson we all have to learn as we grow up. I feel like most of us want to run on as little sleep as possible.
Yeah.
Especially as teenage, 20 years.
It's also so bad for your overall health.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible for your health. I also sleep. I mean, on a weekend, I could sleep 9 hours straight. But if I don't set an alarm, I'll probably just go 9 hours. But I'm also trying to get at least 6 hours every night. Is my goal, at least. I always at least try and get 6 to 7 there. But I've had you for about an hour now, so I can let you get going here soon. Before I let you go, because I want to keep this conversation going, online and offline, and keep up with Swiftleads and everything. Before I let you go, what are kind of the next steps here for Swiftleads AI? Like, what's the goal coming in the next year? Any goals, big KPIs coming up?
Yeah, we want to get as many brokerages on board worldwide. We're not just looking, well, I guess New York is our main place, but we're not just looking in New York. We're looking to expand. We have Parvez out in Dubai, so he has a big network out there. We want as many people as possible because we can work in 30 plus languages. We could work with your client out in Asia, out in China. We could work with your client out in South America. So that's the goal, is just to expand and grow and look for new clients and convert through social media, through following YouTube ads and all of that.
I'm sure you'll get there step by step, and I can't wait to stay along for the journey step by step and just see the progress. It's been amazing to see so far. And again, it's happening very quickly. So
because you spoke to Parvez how long ago? He was on your podcast as well.
Yeah, I still haven't gone back and rewatched that episode. I need to do that because I'm going to talk with him soon again, whether offline or online. But when was this? That's loaded up. We actually have a ton of clips of him being made right now. I don't put out the clips. That's just our team.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look this up, it goes to the clips. So this was at least a year ago. That's what YouTube's telling me.
Yeah. And that's when he was first initially developing the app or the software himself.
Yes. And we've had a lot of growth since then here. So we're at 330,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I don't know if a year ago, we're probably around 100,000, hovering just above or below that. And so it's kind of wild how fast we got here, truly, and how fast things have been going for you guys. It's all very impressive. Again, got to stay updated with it as much as possible and stay updated with you as much as possible. Yeah. I really appreciate your time tonight, and I know it's late over there in New York, so I can let you get going, and I'll continue the conversation another time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night. Again, sure we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.